going on, guys? My name is Johnny, aka Risepool, and I'm the coach of your Cologne Conkeldurrs, welcoming you back to our Week 2 match of the Grand Pokemon Conference, this time against Paul, aka Fallup, coach of the Dewford Drapions. Link obviously going to be down in the description. He's an awesome dude. I talked to him a lot during the summer showdown tournament, and we came along really well. Great battler. You can go check him out, definitely. Yeah, so first things first. Apologies, I'm 2 days late. It was because Paul and I weren't able to schedule our game till Friday, and on Friday I actually was going away for the whole weekend, and now I return and I'm going to upload this as soon as possible, and I think it's going to be up on today, so it's Monday noon. So sorry for that, it won't happen again. My next week is obviously scheduled a lot earlier. I'm battling Lars actually today, so spoilers there. Yeah, so my match is going to be up 2 days late. I'm sorry about that, won't happen again. So, next, team matchup. His team, incredibly bulky, incredibly strong. The hell, I have such a bad matchup. Okay, now let me get into this. He has Weavile, Clefable, Alamomola, Donphan, Chandelure, Kyurem, Thundurus, Machoke, Flygon, Tangela, Xatu, and Mega Aggron. His team is so bulky. Clefable, Alamomola, Tangela, and Mega Aggron. Is his most likely defensive core, probably Donphan and Flygon, but those can be somewhat offensive as well, especially Flygon. So I have to break that core somehow. I thought in team match. I know my first instinct breaking this core would be a Choice Banded Victini. Can't bring a Choice Banded Victini. He has a Weavile. We pursue trap all day of the week if I click Recreate. Next thing. How do I break such a bulky core? Calm Mind Jirachi. So setup. And couldn't bring Calm Mind Jirachi. He has a Weavile. He has a Mega Aggron that kind of shits all over the Jirachi, even if it's +3. This thing is so bulky. And Jirachi doesn't get Focus Blast. Or Earth Power. Or Fire Blast. Whatever. Next up, Megalopunny. Power Up Punch. Won't work. Won't get a chance to Power Up Punch enough. Clefable. Moonblast. Mega Aggron. Heavy Slam. I had trouble figuring this out. But I came up with a team to bring, and you can see my team on the left side already. It is Jirachi. It's a specially defensive Jirachi with Ice Punch, U-Turn, Stealth Rock, and Iron Head, I believe. Yeah, Iron Head. This thing is meant to come in and take a hit from the Kyurem and the Thundurus Therian form, which are such huge threats, and Jirachi can take a hit, get leftovers back, and then threaten them out, and set up my Stealth Rocks or U-turn out on his likely Mega Aggron switch. Like, this was the scenario I envisioned for my Jirachi. I wanted to bring Scarf again, but Jirachi didn't have the power for this matchup, and Spadef was too important to kind of counter Kyurem and Thundurus T, which are huge threats to my team. Next up, I have a mostly physically defensive Assault Vested Granbull. Now, Assault Vest Granbull does a few things for me this game. First thing is, it's my best Weavile answer. I believe Poison Jab is never a 2KO on me, even if it's banded with the Intimidate, and I can pretty much freely switch in on it. Plus, the Assault Vest actually allows me to never be 2-KO'd by any variant of Flygon. Obviously, I want to preserve Granbull, but yeah, that makes Granbull a bit more useful in the overall matchup, and I'm not 2-KO'd with my investment by a Life Orb Kyurem's Ice Beam, I believe. Yes. So Granbull have overall solid backup check and my best Weavile answer right there and then. Moving on, I'll have a pretty straightforward Megalopunny with Fake Out, Quick Attack. Oh wait, let me do this a different way. Let me go on with Tentacruel. Now, Tentacruel actually has a great matchup versus his team. I had to bring Tentacruel because it's my best check to Clefable. It's one of the best checks to Clefable, period. And but I knew he wouldn't bring Setup Clefable versus me. With my Iron Heading Jirachi and with my potentially Acid Spraying Tentacruel, I didn't think he would bring Setup Clefable. That doesn't have the best of matchup, especially since Victini can always break it. And yeah, those two beat it, as I said. So what I figured was I didn't need Acid Spray. And I also saw that Tentacruel, if it's a bulky variant, won't do much for me this game. can't really hurt his it can't, if it's defensive, it can't really hurt his team too much. But if it's slow, it also doesn't really pressure his hazard removal because I have T-spikes. And I fully expected him to bring Alamomola to kind of pivot around between my Victini and Megalopony. Alamomola is his best check to a Choice Bandit Victini. Now, this is why I decided to bring a offensive Tentacruel that can capitalize on the Alamomola and a lot of his slower and bulkier Pokemon. So I have a Life Orb offensive, max speed, max special attack Tentacruel with Scald, Giga Drain, Toxic Spikes, and Sludge Bomb, obviously. This thing actually dents his team. Scald does a ton to Weavile. Sludge Bomb is always two-shotting, sometimes if it's offensive. Why would he be killing Clefable? Giga Drain pretty much gives me all the health back I lost when I use it on the Alamomola, which was my prime thought on this Tentacruel. I can switch it in on the Alamomola, 3D set up T-Spikes, and get all the health back with my Giga Drain, and put some pressure on with this Tentacruel. Obviously, Donphan can't spin on me because it will die to Skull. Chandelure doesn't appreciate Skull, and I'll speed anything but a Scarfer. Kyurem, Sludge Bomb still does a ton of damage to the Kyurem. If it's a bulky Roost variant, I believe I do about 35%, which, you know, isn't a lot, but I probably wouldn't stay in, but it's enough to break a sub, so I'm not setter fodder for the Kyurem. Thunder Therian obviously doesn't want to switch in on my Sludge Bombs. So, Tentacruel all around, really solid offensive threat versus his team, which is pretty funny because it's a Tentacruel, but yeah, so offensive Tentacruel does a lot there. Toxic Spikes, it's a questionable whether I'm going to set them up. If he brings the Alamomola and the Donphan, and I know it's an unaware Clefable, or he brings a Kyurem, I'm pretty likely to set up Toxic Spikes. If he doesn't bring the Alamomola, Toxic Spike might be completely in vain, because with the team he brought on the right side, you can actually see it already, which this is kind of pointless, but I probably won't set up T-Spikes because it's most likely a Magic Guard Clefable, and T-Spikes only hurt his offense, and Tangela, but I'm going to go with that in the match. Sorry, I'm a bit confused, I'm still tired from the weekend. And last but not least, my last 3 Pokemon were kind of set, because, as I said, my setup options didn't really exist versus his team, so I had to figure something out. So I brought a Sword Stance Baton Passing Gligar with Roost and Stone Edge. Stone Edge just because I didn't want to give a free switch into Weavile, Thundurus T, or Kyurem, or Chandelure every time I bring in my Gligar. Then I can pretty much, with the investment I have, I never 2-hit KO'd by Flygon, Tangela, Alamomola, Donphan, Machoke, Mega Aggron, and defensive Mega Aggron, and Clefable. So this thing sets up all over his team, in theory, and it can pretty much Baton Pass a +2 into either my Choice Scarfed Victini with Flare Blitz, U-Turn, Bolt Strike, and I believe Blue Flare to OHKO the Mega Aggron from full, even without Baton Passing, because Flare Blitz doesn't do that. Obviously I'm running Flare Blitz to not be pursuit trapped by the Victini after a V-Create drop, although I'll lose out on a significant amount of power. And Megalopony has Fake Out, Quick Attack, Return, and High Jump Kick, just the dual priority to outpace his one potential Scarfer, which I fully expect to be Thunder Therian, just because it's a Scarfer that can outspeed my entire team. Then, or it might be Chandelure to have the Victini immunity, but again, I didn't expect him to bring Chandelure just because I have a Hydreigon, and Chandelure doesn't get any coverage for Hydreigon. So, I wasn't quite certain he wouldn't bring it. He actually brought it, which kind of sucks, but I wasn't still able to handle it quite well with my team. So, because I have way to check it offensively. Yeah, but that's that much for the team matchup. I'm going to hop over to the battle now. Whoop. No editing for me. You know I don't do this. No editor. Way. There we go. And we're here for the match. Now, as far as the match is concerned, he brought a team of Flygon, Clefable, Tangela, Weavile, and Mega Aggron. Why am I on the wrong side? I'm going to change that soon, you know. So when I see this team, I'm already thinking Clefable probably defensive in combination with Tangela to kind of check my Pokemon. Mega Aggron, just the fat tanky thing it is. Chandelure most likely Chandelure or Flygon are most likely his Scarfers. I'm suspecting the Chandelure because a Scarf Chandelure can take a hit from Victini and retaliate with a Shadow Ball. Plus his Flygon is most likely his Defogger, so he really should not bring that Scarf with me because I have the option to set up Toxic Spike, and Flygon can actually pressure the standard defensive Tentacruel with the Earth Power because it should outspeed the defensive Tentacruel. So I'm thinking potentially an offensive defogging Flygon, and last but not least a pretty standard Weavile I think with probably Ice Stab, Knockoff, Pursuit, and Poison Jab. Now here I'm just going to start the battle. He leads, start the battle. God damn. He leads off with a Clefable, and I decide to lead off with a Mega Lopunny. I lead off with my Mega Lopunny because I expect him to either lead with a Flygon or with something that can set up rocks, which would be Clefable or Mega Aggron. I wanted to lead off with Lopunny because I can pretty much get a guaranteed fake out off and kind of see the damage on anything he wants to bring in. I could have scouted out this Flygon, this Chandelure, and yeah. If he led off with the Mega Aggron, I could have high jump kicked that. So pretty much Lopunny guaranteed me some offensive momentum from the start. So right here I have no reason not to Mega Evolve and fake out this Clefable. And then I'm going to switch out because I don't want to get Thunder Wave. I'm going to go to my Tentacruel, predicting his Stealth Rocks, which he goes for. And then now I'm in the position I wanted to be in. My Tentacruel is in, and I think he's going to expect me to Rapid Spin right away. And he wanted to utilize this to get into one of his biggest offensive threats, or his offensive threats to pressure my Tentacruel with, for example, the Flygon. So here I'm going to capitalize on it and just going to throw out a Scald. And as you can see, it does over half to this Flygon. So immediately I knew it wasn't a defensive Flygon. I knew it was a most likely offensive Flygon with potentially, with obviously a ground stab move to hit my Tentacruel. He probably is max speed because he tried to check my Tentacruel offensively with it, or he just didn't expect the offensive Tentacruel at all. So here I obviously have to switch out, and I'm going into my Gligar. Gligar, as I said, is never to hit KO, but this is a chance for me to get some momentum with the Baton Pass, or actually set up. But I figure right now it's too early to set up here, and I expect him to switch out, which was a misplay. At this point I'm still kind of debating the Scarf Flygon, so I wanted to see whether he wants to stay in or not. But I didn't consider that Flygon actually doesn't get Ice Fang in contrast to Gliscor. So his Flygon wasn't scared of my Gligar, and by revealing Baton Pass right here, I actually get into position that I revealed my winning tactic really early on, without utilizing it here. If I set up here, I set up a Sword Stance here, and then Baton Pass, I would have been in a much better situation. And right now, he knows I'm a Baton Passing, probably SD Baton Passing Gligar, and he can play around it. And that's not good, because that was probably my only way to break his team, as you'll see a bit later. But I Baton Pass out here and get back into my Lopunny, and I can threaten the Flygon out. He pulls a nice switch into Tangela. I just fake out to gauge some damage. I know he's not Rocky Helmet now. Yeah, and he just throws off a Leech Seed. I know he's not Rocky Helmet, it's not Tangela, he obviously has Eviolite. Okay, never mind me. He just throws out a Leech Seed as I take the chance, go into my Jirachi, and throw out my own Stealth Rocks, which pressures his offense pretty nicely. Now I'm in against this Chandelure, and because I know his Flygon isn't Scarfed, I'm 90% certain that this Chandelure is Scarfed. And I calc the damage my specially defensive Rachi can take any hit from this Chandelure, and because he didn't bring Thundurus or Kyurem, Spadef Rachi doesn't really do a whole lot to his team. My Tentacruel checks the Clefable just fine. Weavile and Flygon beat it anyway, so does Mega Aggron and Chandelure. So I decided to stay in without letting his Chandelure damage any of my other Pokemon. And you turn out to gain momentum because I couldn't do really much else, and then I go into my Mega Lopunny. The reason I go into my Mega Lopunny is because I have Fake Out plus Quick Attack, and I can severely weaken this. Now here, I know he's scarfed this point because of the damage he did to Raji. Here I expect him to wanting to keep this healthy because it's a good offensive check to a lot of my Pokemon, so I pull a double switch into my Tentacruel because that's the thing, as I said, that pressures his entire team, and his most likely switch into my Mega Lopunny are Tangela or Clefable, and Tentacruel covers them both pretty nicely as he switches out. Now here, as you saw, I switched out first. So I was really thinking, what the hell, because if it's Scarf Chandelure, he should outspeed my Mega Lopunny. Turns out he sped crept a Mega Lopunny, speed creeping a Weavile, and I sped crept the Weavile by 2 points accidentally, so that meant I was outspeeding, it was actually a speed tie, or maybe I was outspeeding the Chandelure, so he made some mistakes right there. Okay, so I get into my Tentacruel, nice, because now I can pretty freely throw off a Scald right here. I'm not expecting him to go into Clefable because it was the easiest Sludge Bomb of my life. I throw out a Scald, but he predicting the Flygon. But hey, he goes into Clefable, no problem either. Not really, at least, because now I predict him to pivot out into his Flygon on the Sludge Bomb. I'm not going to fall for that, just throw out another Scald, do huge damage to the Flygon, no burn sadly, but he was special anyway. And here, I can sack off my Jirachi to get a free switch in. I probably could have gone into Gligar, but then he would have gone free switch, or into his Weavile. My Gligar would have been damaged, and Gligar is still my defensive answer to the Mega Aggron, so I did not want that to happen. So I sack off my Jirachi right here, it set up rocks, did everything. Now I get a free switch into my Gligar, and here I choke again. I don't know what's wrong with me. I set up an SD, and he saw the Baton Pass, so I should have thought he's going to hard out into his Weavile, because it seems like a pretty safe switch to him, and he can't risk me setting up my Sword Stance right here. So I could have clicked Stone Edge and KO'd the Weavile. But hey, I'm stupid. I click SD, and now I wasted the turn, because now I can't stay in on his Weavile, because Icicle Crash is sure as hell knocking me out. And I have a pretty safe switch into my Granbull, but right now I pretty much wasted my chances to get up the SD pass, so I misplayed quite hard there. I go into my Granbull, take the Icicle Crash, no problem. I know I can live a Poison Jab after, and I'm just going to go for the Super Fang, predicting the Mega Aggron, because that seemed like a likely switch to me. He didn't do that. Well, Clefable, I missed the Super Fang, which is still unfortunate, because now I have to switch. I have to take a hit with something else. Otherwise, Super Fang into Play Rough from my Granbull would have been enough to kill this Clefable. Now, he goes for Moonblast, and now my Tentacruel, which is my biggest offensive threat to his team, is severely weakened. And this is why this is really unfortunate, because Tentacruel with the Life Orb is going to get worn down so fast, and since he didn't bring Alomomola, I can't get that much health back with a Giga Drain from anything. I'm still going to try though, so I'm going to go for Giga Drain here, get a lucky crit, and get some damage off, get some health back, but as you can see with the Shadow Ball, I still don't really do much. I can KO with the Scald, but right here my Tentacruel is pretty much death fodder, because I can't really save it. Plus, if I switch it back out into my Granbull, he goes for Ice Move or Knockoff. My Granbull is in range. So right here, I have to go out and go into my Scarf Victini, putting on some pressure. I can pick him off with the U-turn, so even if he switched, I would have kept up my momentum. Now I'm out into my Granbull. Granbull doesn't really do a lot else to his team, and he brings out the Mega Aggron, which I suspected all the time. Even if he would have gone out into Flygon or Chandelure, because they were special, because of the Assault Vest, I could have taken any hit, barring a Scarf Fire Blast from this range. So that's why I went out to Granbull. Here I go for this. Try to go for the Super Fang, but because I forgot that he wasn't intimidated, I actually have a problem right now, because Heavy Slam takes me out. With the Intimidate, it was a roll, I believe. I'm not that sure, but I should have, hindsight, should have played this a bit differently. Used the free switch to get offensive momentum back, and get a safe Granbull for the Intimidate on one of his Pokemon later on. So here, I think it's I still don't know what kind of Aggron it is. as I still think it's the defensive kind of tank aggron. So I think with this free switch, aggron Ice Punch isn't KOing me. With this, I can set up a sword stance and baton pass out. So this is my chance, my last chance to get back into this game, to get the SD up, pass into Victini or Low Pony, and sweep from there. So I go for that, go for the sword stance, and he reveals the Rock Polish. And I lost. That's basically a good game, because I can't do much to a Rock Polish aggron at this point. I take at least one... I would take at least one more turn to get out into one of my other Pokemon via Baton Pass, and if he sets up another Rock Polish right here on this turn, because my Gligar can't do shit to this Mega Aggron, I pretty much lost, because it then outspeeds my Scarf Victini if he evade this right. So I just have to go, have to try this. Here I have to kind of choke, because I roost. I should have Baton Passed out and hoped he did not outspeed my team, but I didn't really know if he had Ice Punch or not. So yeah, I don't know. It was a kind of misplay. I kind of knew I lost at this point because of my because of the Rock Polish aggron. I couldn't do much back to it because it outsped my entire team. A really good prep on his part. I always it didn't really cross my mind, so I wasn't aware of Rock Polish aggron. I know it as a set, but I didn't really come into consideration during the battle, so I didn't play around it. I probably should have guessed it was Rock Polish, and I'm just going to show you the sweep from here. I probably should have figured this out. It's a more offensive aggron, since he never brought it in early game and tried to get a Mega Evolution off. But then again, I never really gave it the opportunity to get that many free switches without being severely weakened. So he's going to take me out with a Heavy Slam. So good game to Paul. Really great with the Mega Aggron sweep in the end. A couple of jokes on my part. I am still getting used to my team. I think I kind of need some time because I never used a lot of these mons. I'm still thinking I'm getting the vibe of this. I think I used Tentacruel quite well this week, so which was a Pokemon I actually didn't like before. But right now, Tentacruel seems like I like it more, just because I was able to put some offensive pressure. So I learned how to use this. Ramble I like to use. Lopunny is getting better and better for me. So I might need some more time, but still I misplayed quite hard this week in a couple of situations, and I have to step up my game because I don't want to lose another week. And next week we're going to go up against Lars, and aka El Scissor, I guess you all know him, who's a really scary opponent, and do want to lose another game. But yeah, so that's it for this week. Good game to Paul. We lose 4-0. Nothing you can do. I'm hoping to clinch back next week. Thank you guys for watching the video. My name is Johnny. Cheers, I'm out.